Hi everyone, welcome back to Megabit Cards. So it's been a while. It's been about a year, I'd say. Yeah, and well, I felt bad. I felt like I kind of owed it to you guys to make that tutorial on how to make my anime style Yu-Gi-Oh OriCas. There's nothing really complex to it, but just for those people asking out there, I thought I'd make this video not only to clarify a few things up, but to give you the tutorial. So. Okay, first things first. I actually had to get rid of my old cards. I moved houses, kept this desk, so same place. Uh, but yeah, I moved. So basically, I had to mock up a new set of cards for you guys. And basically, these are all ready for demonstration purposes. So you can kind of see what you're going to be making here in advance. Because I see all these tutorials on YouTube all around the place, and they're like, "All right, let's get started. Let's do this tutorial." And not a lot of people know what they're making. Now I know I had a video beforehand about quite a while beforehand for making these cards, but I just thought I'd make a fresh one just to show you guys. Now, I know you can notice that three of these are actually different. That's because the whole point of me making these was so that they resemble the anime cards. And these three now resemble them even further by having the anime backing. So here they are. I remade the Winged Dragon of Ra. I actually did this. This is new polymerization. Obelisk of Tormentor, again, remade. Same as Slifer. And then there's Elemental Hero Avion, Elemental Hero Flame Wingman. These two are new as well. And there's a good old favorite, Dark Magician. Seen him before. That's a remake. But yeah, so these are the cards that I've made for you guys to have a look at. And yeah, that's what they're gonna look like. I should warn you as well, these are made of paper and fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards, so because real ones are just expensive and overpriced nowadays. But yeah, they're made of fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards used as tokens, or I mean, I guess if with your friends you want to play with these, sure, go ahead. Why not? Also, just something else I want to address. People have asked me about making them decks or just making them cards, and previously I wasn't up for it. My parents just didn't want me to. They thought no, it wasn't good. They didn't want to trust a kid with doing that stuff. But now it's all right. I can actually make you guys cards, decks if you want. Um, and currently I'll be charging $2 per card if you're just gonna buy one separately. But for a deck, well, let's say there's pretty much any deck that has above 40 cards, I'll be reducing the price of each card to $1.50. Um, yeah, and that's pretty much how it's gonna go down, I guess. So for any of you who want it, just message me and we'll sort it out. All right, I guess we're going on to the tutorial. Okay, so this is part one. This is where we're actually going to find our image to print, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to go to this website over here, and I'll link it down in the description, but I'm just going to clarify something really quickly. Up here, the link says www.animecards.blogspot.com.br. The BR isn't important. If you put a .com, it'll take you to the website anyways, but what's important is noticing that there is no dot between the W's and anime cards. So that's not a mistake when I put it down in the description. That's the way it's meant to be. All right, so you go to this website and you scroll down until you see this little search box right here. In the search box, you can search for the card you want. So I'm just going to type in blue eyes and we're going to press enter and it'll search for us. So we can then scroll down once it loads. There it is. Can scroll down. A few images have been removed, I'm guessing due to copyright reasons. I'm also going to note this website is generally in Portuguese. There are certain bits in English, but yeah. So here is the Blue Eyes White Dragon. This is a zoomed version of the image. I don't know if you want that, if you'd want that or not. We're just going to go find the original. Here it is. Blue Eyes White Dragon. Also, you may notice there's other similar cards with similar names. It's anything that's got blue eyes in its name, I guess. This is an alternate artwork. So here's the one we're going to use. Now, it's this image you're going to keep, but you're not going to click, you're not going to save it quite yet. First, you actually have to click on the image to open it up in a bigger size. Also, I do apologize for the square monitor. It is quite old. I am planning on getting a new one. Right. So we right click this and we click on Save Image As. Then you go to your folder, wherever you're going to save them. For me, I keep them in my projects. And here are the cards I've already saved. So I've already saved over here. I'm not going to bother doing it again. But you also notice the card backing. It's a little bit different how you're going to get that. So what you're going to do, you're going to exit out of here. And going to go all the way back to the top. And you'll notice over here there's options. There's the tabs, I guess. This is another way you can find cards. Not exactly that efficient, but I guess, yeah, if you're trying to find cards that you're not entirely sure of the name or something, or having difficulty finding. But you go to the back card, that tab, and you scroll down. This one's been removed, copyright reasons again. And here is the one that we use. Again, same thing. Click on it, it'll open up in a bigger size. Right click, save image. I already have it, so we're just going to leave it. All right, now that you've done that, you have to open up Microsoft PowerPoint. I use PowerPoint just because it saves paper if I'm printing in one go, I guess. But I guess you could use Microsoft Office Word at the same time. So what you want to do when you drag your image in, you're gonna right click it, and you're gonna right click on Size and Position. That'll bring up this tab. Now, whatever the size of the image is, you need to edit it to 8.5 centimeters height and 5.72 centimeters width. Okay. Now, if you can't do that, it's not if you can't do it. If that's in inches for you, you can just you can just check the difference between them in Google or something. Just type in 8.5 centimeters into inches. And once you've done that, you just pretty much print it. Except you'd fill it up with a lot more. I normally do about four per half of the page. Oh, sorry, no. I think it was 7. Yeah. So I normally do that many, and then we print it, and we are ready to get going from there. So. Okay, so once you've printed it, it should be, just looking like this. This is roughly the size of one of these. Pretty much the same. There you go. Because they all use the same measurement. And these are going to be printed on fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't actually know where mine have gone right now. Oh, there they are. So I'll just bring them up later. But yeah, so what you're going to do after you've printed this regular A4 paper, right? You're going to cut it out and you're going to be ready for gluing. As for what we're going to actually use for gluing, I used to use just regular, just straight up, I don't know, glue. I don't know, the white stuff. Just the white stuff. Please ignore that joke. That was terrible. I use spray adhesive. I got this at an arts and crafts store where I live. Just shake and spray. But I don't know what you got. Spray adhesive, pretty much generally all the same thing. This was a recommendation from somebody actually a while back in my old video. But yeah, so this is what I use. Also, I don't know if I said it before, but yeah, just excuse a mess. Just been working on quite a few projects lately. But yeah. So I'll just be right back as soon as I finish cutting this. Okay, so here it is, all cut, all nice and ready to go for this gluing process, I guess. I recommend using something really sharp, like a knife like this. But because basically, if you try to use scissors, there is a chance you could go kind of inaccurate. Try to use something straight to cut against. I used a business card, just lined it up against the card, and I cut with the knife. But also just another thing, be gentle when cutting. Paper tends to want to drag when you put pressure on it when you're cutting. Not just that, but also for the sake of your table or whatever you're going to be using. I mean, obviously you're probably going to be cutting on something that's not going to be important, but still, you'd rather have it smoother than rougher. That was terrible wording. I do apologize for that. But yeah, just light cuts. Very light. It is paper, and paper cuts easily. So, see that? Yeah. Paper cuts easily. You don't need to put a lot of pressure. But yeah, so now I'm just gonna get the fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards up, and I'm gonna get some. You can use some newspaper. I don't have any around me, so I'm just gonna use some spare paper I got lying around. I got plenty of it. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get that ready for the spraying process. Okay, so here we are, ready to go. I just want to note something. When choosing a fake card, right? I have a whole ton of them just down there, right? But when choosing a fake card, you want to make sure that it's in pretty good condition, right? No creases, no folds, nothing, right? This one, for example, wouldn't be a good option because as you can see, there's a fold in it. I don't know if the camera can focus enough, but there is clearly a visible crease just there. So yeah, this it's no good because that means the paper that when you glue it on, it's not going to stay on very well. So that's useless. But yeah, so I've got my paper here just lying down over here, holding the card on it. Um, got this here. I'm going to move it out of the way. I don't want to get any glue on it. Here's my spray adhesive, ready to go. And basically, all I got to do, spray from about this far away. Just try to give you a general look at how far I'm spraying from. It's about, I don't know, like 20 centimeters, maybe 8 inches. I don't know. I don't do American. But yeah, so I'm just going to spray that, and then I'll leave it for a couple seconds, like maybe 30 seconds or so. I'll get this, and I'll make sure that once I'm putting it on, I'm going to use this to make sure it goes on nice and smooth. Right, I'm just going to drag across it. Now, I'm not going to be able to film this for you because I don't actually have a tripod or anything. So, and I'd rather not do this one-handed, just because it tends to, be more likely for me to mess up. So, I'm going to be right back once I've finished and once I've glued it on, and we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so now we're all done. Cards here, glued. Everything's flattened down nicely. Now, what I wanted to do, I wanted to show you something that tends to happen every now and then if I don't get something right. So I purposely, when I printed this, I didn't show you guys, but when I printed this, I printed it slightly longer than what it's supposed to be, and I glued it just a little bit off, as you can see in that corner. I don't know if you can see, but it's a little bit off. This half of the edge is fine, but the other one's off. So what you're going to need to do in cases of these overhangs is just carefully cut it off, trying not to, I don't know, destroy the shape or something of it. Just be smart about it. Like, for example, this one over here, I'm going to be cutting it off, and it's got that little black trim at the bottom. And if I get rid of that, it's not going to make much of a difference. Also, if you have any overhang of card on this side, so there's a little bit of card over here that you can see it's poking out. Doesn't matter if you cut that off, not at all. The back's not really important. This is what's more important. It's this side, not the back. So yeah, it's okay if you cut it off. Also, same process if you want to glue it onto the back of this with the anime backing. Just print it out to size, and once this is dried, which I'll talk to you a little bit about drying in a bit, stick that on as well. Let it dry again. So what you want to do with this, make sure you just cut them out, and we get ready for drying. So I'll be right back once I've cut it. Okay, so I finished the cutting. Now, this is a mistake I just made. Remember when I told you about not pressing too hard with a knife because paper tends to want to drag? When it's wet with glue, it tends to want to do that even more. Now, I was holding it upside down and everything. Pressure was on. But when I was cutting over here, I pressed down just a little too hard, and it dragged the paper with it, ripping it off. So, on second thoughts, I'm going to recommend to you to let it dry first, and then to cut off the excess. I mean, if you want to, sure, go ahead. Just be careful. Odds are it'll probably end up like that, somewhere around. Okay, now as for drying, what I normally like to do is set it under something heavy. Well, it's obvious, because just in general, you don't want this curling. Okay, this is something I did a while back for my room. I printed out some comic book covers, and I let them dry for about, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour, and they ended up curling, even though I stuck them on my wall with blue tack, which you can see here. So, yeah, you can see they curled, sort of, because the blue tack's holding it in place. But yeah, you don't want that happening. So, what you want to do is get something nice and heavy and place this under it. Preferably sandwiched between the two of them, because you don't want it on something soft like carpet. So what I like to use is my little weight set over here. If you don't have something like that, you know, it's not necessary. Just use some sort of a heavy book. I have something here, you know, like quite a few people have these. Oh yeah, those are some backings I printed off a while back. Here, something nice and heavy is like Guinness World Book of Records. It's pretty old, 2002. But yeah, you just leave it on that. You get another heavy book, or my weight set, in my case, and you place it on top. Now the card's underneath this, and you just leave it to dry for about 24 hours minimum, I say. I normally like to leave mine longer, I don't know why. Probably doesn't make much of a difference. But yeah, I like to do that with mine. And then once they're dried, they're pretty much ready to use. Again, I will warn you, these are paper. So if you are going to do this, you're probably going to want to invest in some sleeves because they're not made to last, these cards. They feel nice, they look nice, but they're not made to last. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much how you're going to do all this. And that brings it to the end of the tutorial. Alright guys, so I guess this brings us to the end of the video. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Just like to remind you that there is a rating button, subscribe button, and a liking button. So I'd like for you to do that, comment, everything, you know. That'd be great. And I just wanna say as well, the offer is always out there for any of you who'd like for me to make them cards instead of them following this tutorial. Mind you, it should be a fairly easy tutorial. Thought it was pretty simple. Nothing complex to it. You don't really need to buy anything. Everything you need is pretty much in your home, except maybe the spray adhesive. But overall, yeah, fairly simple. And if anyone would like me to make them cards, just feel free to message me about it. Each card on its own separately, $2. And if you buy in excess of 40 cards, the price will go down to $1.50 per card. Well, $1.50, not $150. Um, yeah, and one last thing. If anyone would like me to make them a custom Yu-Gi-Oh anime styled OriCa, just send me a square type image, fairly high res, and just tell me the details of what type of card you'd like it to be. If you want it with backing or without. With backing also adds an extra 50 cents to the cost of the cards, but that's up to you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in another video. I'm glad I finally got to do this. See you guys.